Hey, everyone in chat is saying Halo just got delayed till next year.
Yeah. I was gonna. I mean, we got news coming up here in a minute.
What the fuck?
Unless you just, I guess we could just talk about it now.
What the fuck?
Hey,
Breaking
Halo's
news.
getting delayed to 2021.
Taking a little news interlude here. Let's just go ahead and talk about it now. This was posted on Twitter literally 2 minutes ago. So
what the fuck?
This is from Chris Lee, the studio head.
Why don't you read that out there, Brad?
Oh man, it's pretty long. Let me skim here and talk amongst yourselves for a second.
That's what are they? What
else is coming out?
Don't like what?
Yeah, wait. That's my question. Does the console get delayed?
What do they do?
Difficult decision to shift our release to 2021. Result of multiple factors that have contributed to development challenges, including COVID-related impacts.
That's fair.
I want to acknowledge the hard work from our team. Remained committed to making a great game. It is not sustainable for the well-being of our team or the overall success of the game to ship it this holiday.
That makes total sense.
Totally,
I definitely understand why a game might not be ready for this holiday season.
Yeah, I will preface this by saying I think a lot of the dunking on that game has been kind of mean-spirited over the last week or two in a weird way, but also, I was thinking that for them and everybody else shipping this holiday, Jeff, I know you've heard this a bunch of times, but I feel like the maxim from a lot of game developers is games are all fucking a gigantic mess that's on fire until the last few months before they ship.
Right.
Games generally don't come together until the very end of development. So for any team having to ship a game this holiday, to have that entire phase of development occur in the middle of this, it sounds like an absolute nightmare. I'm totally believe that would be affecting their ability to get the game done properly.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if they are taking the feedback into consideration and thinking well, I guess we have to address that now too. And if that ends up leading to
I think it's pretty particular that they're also just saying 2021, not not
March,
specific month,
the beginning season. Or any sort of.
Once you're delaying the game like this, you don't want to get specific right away.
No, I mean Cyberpunk did that and then had to undo it multiple times.
At this point, they may very well mean Q1, but they're just look, just say next year, and we'll get there when we get there.
It's the damage
is done. A whole other PR hit. We to announce a whole new release date. Fuck. Man, that's cool. Yes. No, it's people should not kill themselves making a Halo sequel or any video game really, but
what is on that new console?
What's on that console?
Is that console coming out this year?
I feel like there's no way you can back out of a console release.
Not to just to live commentate chat here, but apparently The Verge is reporting that the Series X, if not release date, release kind of timing window will be announced today as November.
And that makes sense. I think if you have this, if you are still intending to put this console out this year and Halo just gets delayed, you have to recommit to saying yes, we are still putting out this year, or say, hey, we've pushed the console back, one way or the other.
Yes.
It just ran on Xbox Wire.
Okay.
Will Tuttle himself, Xbox Wire editor-in-chief.
The Xbox Whisperer.
Xbox Series X launches this November with thousands of games spanning 4 generations.
I mean, they've put that line out there.
Yeah.
Before. Yeah, but they could have infinite games just minutes ago.
Here are the bullet points that they've got listed here. More than 50 new games planned for this year across generations and optimized for Series X, including Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Dirt 5, Gears Tactics, which is already out. Watch Dogs Legion, which will be 2-3 weeks old at that point.
Yeah.
Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is, when is that out? Is that fall?
It's out. It's a launch game for Series X.
Oh, it is?
I don't know. Okay. I mean, it's already out in Japan.
Right.
I think.
So that's kind of, that's the extent of the new games that they literally are leading with a third-party game, Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
In that statement. There's some new games developed for Xbox Series X and launching with Xbox Game Pass, including exclusives like The Medium, Scorn, and Tetris Effect Connected. And then their third bullet point is just a bunch of existing games optimized to take full advantage of Series X, such as Forza Horizon 4, Gears 5, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Madden NFL 21. So
I feel like with the Xbox Series X, it always came back to, yeah, well, I mean, there's going to be the Halo. Like that was kind of like,
yes. And that was the only game they would commit to for the longest time. It was like, hey, we've got Halo at launch, and it was like, okay,
like Halo's good, but what else? And now it's just not even Halo.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not much more on the Sony side, right? Like, what first-party exclusives do they have?
It's the Astrobot.
Oh, Spider-Man is launched.
Spider-Man and the Astro.
Yeah, well, Astrobot's packed in. I mean, it may very well be like a cool, fully fledged game, but it being packed in makes me wonder if it's kind of a bite-sized thing.
Yeah, that's I wonder if it ends up also being really hard to test because they're in that phase where they'd probably be bringing in a lot of external testers,
right? And they can't
get the hardware out. They can't get they
can't be shipping unreleased consoles to and fro, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get to it, but there's the Series X controllers out in the wild now already. Like, seems like the potential for hardware theft or leakage is pretty high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's not much left to leak. I mean, that's kind of like the point in favor of like getting all this shit announced is like once everything's known about it, then you can be a little more open with who is getting sent consoles and where and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But while you've still got that stuff being so secretive, then it gets really hard.
Yeah.
But
intrepid reporter Patrick Klepek just said, I've been hearing for much of this year that the transition to work from home amid COVID-19 was having an especially big impact on the final stretch of Halo Infinite's development. So there's that. I don't know, looking for an upside here. Maybe they'll be able to get the ray tracing support done in time for launch and have that there as opposed to sometime in the nebulous future.
Yeah.
Which, like, for all the shit they took about with the way that game looks, like that would help quite a bit.
Sure. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's boy. Launching a new console. Yeah. Pretty hard this time around, huh?
Yeah.
And I don't envy anybody who has to do that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even know if should anybody buy these things?
Do you want to play Destiny 2 on a TV?
I could do that pretty well right now.
You play Madden with the
Wait, Madden?
John Madden.
Madden. Like the new one?
Not Benji Madden. No, it's a different. The new John Madden.
Okay. Are there going to be people in the crowds?
I probably.
Is the Washington football team going to be in it?
The Washington footballers will, I assume, be in it.
Okay.
Can I play in a bubble?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Having Assassin's Creed be the lead game in this press release that they mentioned as here's what's coming out, like that.
Kind of, yeah.
It doesn't.
I really thought. I mean, granted, the ship sailed whenever their last stream was, but I really would have thought they'd have a Forza ready for this.
Yeah, man, and
if not also a Fable,
considering the record number of people getting laid off that we're seeing and stuff like that, it's even the decision to first of all even buy a new console has become a lot harder, and now there's this on top of that. It's just weird time for the industry.
Yeah, and I think that I think they're doing cool stuff with hey, this will run all the old stuff. The different backwards compatibility stuff I think they're doing is cool.
But their whole hardware story, their services story, their backwards compatibility, all across the board, they're offering short of price.
But if you don't have the games,
right, yeah. So and I mean, maybe if we hear that it's $700 or something, it'll be harder to swallow. But short of the first party games lineup, everything they're pitching sounds amazing. They just don't.
If you don't have the games, then you don't. Then what are you buying?
Yeah.
I'm not going to go out and spend that kind of money to run Forza Horizon 4 better, especially in a universe where I can already run Forza Horizon 4 better on a PC. But if I was an Xbox as an Xbox One X owner, if that was where I primarily played console games, There's no reason left to get a Series X this year.
Like generally,
what are you buying?
The standard response to what you just said generally is, well, I don't have a PC, so that's meaningless to me. But in this case, like, even if you don't have a PC, all the games they're talking about running better are like a year to 2 years old at this point.
Right.
Like how is that appealing?
And you may have already played them. Like the idea of like, you know, yeah, I'm gonna go back and play, you know, some Ori 1, you know, like some of the stuff that they're redoing. I just, you probably already played some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird, man. This is weird.
It is weird. It's a lot.
And I know that I think a lot of people tend to put too much into like what a launch lineup is, because we think about like, oh, you got to launch strong, and then you go back and look at what launch games actually came out alongside a lot of these boxes, and you go like, oh man, every console launch has been terrible.
Yeah, but at least they had something.
But at least they had something, and now they literally don't have a game. Right?
Like when they, yeah, right. Like when they did that last stream, we sat there and rattled off most of the Xbox One launch lineup, and like it was not all great, but at least there were like a good 8 or 10 games.
And it was, and some of it was like new IP and stuff like that. You could go like, well, hey, if any of this hits, then they've got a generation's worth of sequels, or you know, whatever else. But what they literally don't have I mean, it's Gears Tactics, which has not come to console yet. Right?
Oh, sure.
Is that literally, that's only on PC?
I totally forgot that had not come to console yet. So that's something.
Is that literally the only first-party Microsoft game that will be available at launch?
And it's not even new.
And it's not even new.
Well, new for console players.
Right, but like, but also
but even that has everything has an asterisk next to it. But like,
yeah.
Damn, dude,
yeah.
That's a fucking.
I mean,
that is a tough hand to be dealt. Like, I feel like they've been coming a long way these past few years to figuring shit out, and then to be like, whoop, sorry, no games.
People are saying
rough.
Flight Sim.
Is Flight Sim coming to console?
Is that?
I believe that's coming to Xbox with the launch.
Let me see. Is that mentioned in this post? Flight Sim. I don't see a
not
date.
at launch.
No, not at launch.
Yeah, no date for Flight Sim. So,
oh boy.
I mean, like in a vacuum, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Dirt 5, Yakuza, and Watch Dogs Legion. Like those are not small games,
right?
And those, but also those are games that I can play in a lot of different places. Like in terms of the why you buying an Xbox,
I mean, if you,
argument,
but like. If you want to play all those games and you want them to look the best they possibly can on a console and you have plenty of disposable income, like there is some argument for some probably fairly small number of people.
Totally.
To buy in, but like it's not, it's a pretty like narrow, it's like a tightrope to walk.
And like, you know, if you're a console only player and you're a big Assassin's Creed fan, then you're already like banking on that game in some extent anyway, and you're going to want to play the best version of it. So you're going to buy a new console, whether that's PS5 or Xbox, like whatever decision you make there. But also, what if you know? I don't know. It's a wild thing. Yeah. That's a, you know, there's been some consoles that have launched with 1 or 2 games. Very few people have tried to launch one with 0 of their own games.
I'm trying to think, like, what is the thinnest launch lineup in history? Like, how many games? Like, PS2 didn't have that much, right?
PS2 had a ton of games. They just a lot of them were shit.
Okay.
Fantavision,
dude.
Yeah, Fantavision, baby. Surfing H3O, baby.
Don't you talk bad about Fantavision.
Oh, I'm just saying it was there.
Ridge Racer.
Okay, sure. I just, for whatever reason, I only remember Fantavision, Tekken Tag.
But yeah, if we're talking about like first party, I guess that's the thing. Like those, a lot of those are third party games. So if we're doing apples to apples and just saying first party stuff,
it's Luigi's Mansion on GameCube. That's like I just somebody mentioned the GameCube when I looked it up, and yeah, it's a bunch of third party stuff, and then Luigi's Mansion.
Oh god,
wasn't Wave Race launch? Was Wave Race a GameCube launch game?
Is Wave Race first party?
Yes.
Chat pointing out N64 literally had Mario 64 and Pilot Wings.
Which is like that's a really strong case until you think about what Mario 64 was.
Like,
actually,
you launched with one of the best games ever made.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good launch game.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Even the Switch had 1-2 switch, baby.
What did the Wii U have?
I mean, they also launched with one of the best games ever made. So.
Yeah. They had that cutout game. What was that called?
Snipper Clips.
Snipper Clips. That game was all right.
The Legend of Zelda.
I'm a little confused by this second bullet point in this blog post. New games developed for Xbox Series X and launching with Xbox Game Pass. And they mentioned like the Medium and Scorn. Are those launch day games?
Yes. Because
I mean, those are
all they're saying is that those games will be on Game Pass,
but not
when they
necessarily
come out.
Day one.
Not necessarily day one.
Okay, so those cannot be counted as launch games then.
We don't know. They haven't gotten specific about some. Well, so some of those I think maybe got announced for not this year. But
okay.
Yeah, but you look at this press release or this thing that they wrote up that is not a press release, but is it's a real song and dance. It's a real look over here. We're gonna write Gears Tactics twice and then hope that you it's real, the whole we have thousands of games thing over here. I think is like they're not wrong, and I think that part of it is cool. But the way that they have been leaning on it, and now the way they're going to have to continue leaning on it, it feels like a real. We're gonna shake these keys over here and hope you don't notice the void over here.
Hey, you know what? One of those thousands of games is Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. So
I mean,
maybe it's the best launch lineup ever conceived.
Yeah, I mean that thing will ostensibly run Titanfall 2, which is the greatest game of this generation. So what? Hey,
Day one.
Yeah, man, it's
what a wild time.
I don't know, man. It's fucking crazy. It's gonna be they're gonna bring back that thing where they put the screenshots of all the games on the back of the box, but you're gonna turn it over and it's just gonna be green. You're like, huh?
Yeah.
Yep. It's a lot to take in.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot to take in. Yes. I'm going to be very interested to see how they handle positioning and all this other stuff from here on out. And if they end up having something else to announce, but I don't think so.
What else could they? Well, it sounds like Lockhart is coming this month and probably price.
That doesn't help. Another console with no games on it does not help the situation.
I'm not saying that's a good thing, but software wise, yeah. How could they? I mean, it's not like. Games are like whiskey, right? You have to plan years in advance for that. You can't just spin up more when there's demand. You gotta lead it by so much time like that. What else could they do?
I don't know. I mean, you saw that they stepped away from the Xbox 2020 branding, right? Yeah.
Which that was what they were originally pitching as their kind of monthly video stream sort of thing, right?
And then they were like, oh, actually, we're just gonna have news whenever. Which is probably smart because it especially in this situation, because it takes some of the those things I think came with a certain amount of expectation of this is going to be a big deal, and then they kind of weren't.
That creates a whole lot of pressure on them to deliver something meaningful every time they do a stream.
Right. It hasn't gone so well for them. So man, holy shit.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm sure it's the right thing for the game.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do it if otherwise, but
yes, on some level, I have a great deal of respect for them making this move.
Yes,
if they don't think it's ready and they think they're going to kill the team to get it out,
it's a big move.
And they can't afford to fuck up Halo. The last couple of Halo games, I feel like people have been not feeling them the way that they felt classic Halo, and they have basically one more chance,
especially if
get that shit right.
Meant to be a service-y lifetime game, right?
Yeah. They're saying this is the next 10 years of Halo are going to be based on this game.
Yeah. So, by this time next year, this probably won't even be a thing that we're thinking about. But, holy shit!
Mm-hmm.
They delayed Halo.
Dude, they delayed Halo.